Okay, now someone I just met, and I find her to be a very wonderful person. Our next speaker, Lynn Goya.
Good afternoon. I am Lynn Goya. I'm running for Clark County Clerk. That's an administrative position, not a legislative position. So I don't have a speech that has the passion that we just heard, which is wonderful. But I have been a feminist for my whole life. How many people out there consider themselves feminists? Very unusual. How many people have children or friends that the majority consider themselves feminists? Oh, I'm very surprised at that. I'm actually very surprised at that. Because what's happening is the current generation does not consider themselves feminists. They think that the work that the feminist movement did has been done, and they don't really like that name. They don't like the way that it is perceived as some kind of a radical, bra-burning, wild person. When I was, in 1972, when the ERA was being passed, I was in high school. I rode my bike to school. I think it was about 5 miles or something. It was nice. But sometimes it was in Iowa, and it was cold and windy, and my hair, at the time, you didn't wear hair like this. What you did is you did those big rollers or cans, or you ironed your hair, and you tried to make it straight and smooth. And so that no matter what I did, by the time I would get to school, I would have hair like this. So that is one thing that distinguished me. Also, at the time, you had to wear a dress to school. So I would be biking in the snow with a dress, because that's what you had to do in 10-degree weather or 15-degree weather. So one of the first things I did, probably as an active feminist, was I went to the school district and went to the principal and said, why am I wearing a dress? I need to wear pants so that I can get to school. Even on the playground, when the little girls, when I was a little girl, the girls all had to wear dresses. You would hang upside down on the parallel bars, and your underwear would show, but that was preferable to having girls wear pants, because wearing pants meant that you had some control over your body that you didn't have if you had a skirt on. I love skirts, actually. I wear skirts all the time. But the difference between wearing pants and a skirt is power. And I think that's what we really seem to forget about the ERA movement. Why don't we have an ERA movement? Anybody? Why is this controversial? Equal pay for equal, why is that controversial at all? Somebody raise their hand and tell me what they think. It makes no sense. It's all about power. Why do they want to give, why do they resent giving $1 more an hour, or even $5 more an hour, to basically wages that are so inexpensive that we've done the economics. We know that wages could certainly absorb those wage increases and have absolutely zero impact on the health of the company and the health of the economy. As a matter of fact, it would generate growth in the health of the economy. So why don't we have it? Why are people resisting it? It's not great, I don't think. I think it's control and power. When I was in high school, I thought about this stuff a lot, high school and college. What happened? If you look at societies, really, really old societies, most people believe that they were matriarchal. So I'm thinking, okay, so we were a matriarchal society, and we're definitely a patriarchal society by the time I came around. And if you look around the world, we're mostly patriarchal societies, unless you look at really primitive societies, which are often matriarchal or very even. What happened? That's something I've been trying to figure out my whole life. What happened to move a society from a matriarchal society to a patriarchal society? In most matriarchal societies, it's a very communal existence. Everybody pulls their weight, but if somebody for some reason can't pull their weight, they're given resources, usually without a lot of resentment, by somebody else that can. Even in this community, the Paiutes, the older Paiute males and females would take care of the kids so that the younger ones could walk around and do their jobs and plant their corn and hunt. And it was a very communal society. So if you look at really most of the older societies, you'll see that it has that real communal, we all share, we all benefit when we would benefit if the society, if someone comes too much into too much power, it actually destroys the whole structure. But yet, this is what we have now. Why do we have CEOs now that are making thousands of times more than their lowest paid worker? That's not something that just happened overnight. Those were laws. If you haven't read it, read Perfectly Legal. It's a fabulous book that shows you exactly how we have this system in place. And why do CEOs even want that kind of money? They're talking about getting so much money that they literally don't take it. What happens is they get paid a salary. There's so much money, they can't use it. At a certain point, there's nothing more you can spend things on. So they don't take the money. It's kept in kind of a lockbox in the company. The company doesn't disperse it. They keep it on tap, but it's separated from the assets of the company so that the company pays taxes on it. The individual doesn't pay taxes on it because they haven't actually taken the money. And yet it can't be used for things like growth or research or health benefits or retirement pay or salary increases. So why would you even want that kind of money that is so much and so excessive that you literally can't use it? It's power. And why are we still fighting for an equal rights amendment? Because if there's no, who has had a $500 hamburger here? We know they sell them, I don't know if they still do, but 5 years ago they were selling them here. Raise your hand if you've eaten a $500 hamburger. Or how about a $10,000 bottle of wine? I did an article, I don't know, 10 years ago, and the Bellagio sold one $10,000 bottle of wine every week. $10,000 for one bottle of wine. That's, what, 4 glasses of wine? Why haven't you had that? And why does somebody want it? Why do they want it? Because it shows that they have money and power. And I believe that money really isn't about money. I believe, again, it's about power. It's about saying that we still have a pecking order and I'm on top. And if you listen to some of the CEOs, what they're talking about in the national media, if you get to hear behind the scenes, they're taking money, and the reason that they really want it is because they want to make sure that I'm making more than you. Or I'm making more than you, and it's all about status and power, and it's not about economic equality, it's not about economic activity, it's not about anything that they can even buy. And so how do we address that if we really believe in an equal rights amendment? Is this the only model that there is out there where we really have to have a pecking order, and for me to achieve, I have to make sure that I take it from someone else because it's that pecking order that matters in life, not necessarily anything material, but just that I'm above somebody else, that I can buy a $500 hamburger or a $10,000 bottle of wine and you can't? Is that what we really want in society? That's what we have, and that's what we've been electing politicians to do. That's what we see in the media, in the news media, but also in the media that we watch. So there's a pecking order that we are actually contributing to. It doesn't have to be that way. There was a study, I don't know how many years ago, again, when I was quite young, I read about this study. They took children from different cultures. They gave them a board game, like a checkers game, and they said, here's a penny in the middle, and if you can get the penny to one side of the board, you'll both get a dime. And if you can't get it to the other side of the board, you get nothing. And so in our society, what they would do is I would move it in my direction, so I would move it in my direction, and the other person would move it in their direction. It was basically a stalemate. We'd go back and forth, and they never could get any money because they couldn't come to a consensus. In other societies, and this was true of the children then, they would do that a couple times and realize, hey, we're getting nowhere. And so then one other person would say, okay, well then I will just move it in my direction too. And so they would do a few moves, they would get their 10 cents bonus for getting the goal, because they cooperated instead of competed. And what we need to be doing in our country is really cooperating more, understanding that we all benefit when we cooperate, but not buying into the television and the news media and the politicians that say that it's only a race to the top, that only a few that can achieve, that we all have to succumb to this concept that we are not equal, that some are more intelligent than others. Some are born with better opportunities. We have to be able to say it's equality that matters to us. It's something that we can achieve. It's something that I need to be talking to my friends and neighbors, my children and my children's friends. And I know that this isn't popular to talk about with my own children. They don't want to hear it. They don't want me to tell their friends what I'm talking about because it's uncomfortable conversations. But we need to have those uncomfortable conversations on a community level so that we can achieve on a national level. Thank you very much, Lynn Goya, for coming.